and efficiency. It's a new thing, and this is a new day in Washington and a new day in America. We have long lamented the size and scope of the government, that it has grown too large. And let me be frank about this. Government is too big, it does too many things, and it does almost nothing well. And the taxpayers deserve better. They deserve a more responsive government, a more efficient government, one that is leaner and more focused on its primary objectives. And that's the opportunity that we have here now. We believe it's an historic moment for the country, and these two gentlemen are going to help navigate through this exciting new day as we're laying the groundwork for the new year and the new Congress. And you're going to see a lot of change around here and in Washington and the way things are run.
Yarvin's rejection of democracy and his embrace of a strong, centralized state aligns with these sentiments, especially among Republicans who want to challenge what they see as the deep state. In 2021, on a right-wing podcast, J.D. Vance referred directly to Curtis Yarvin's writings. He added this, quote, "I think what Trump should do, if I was giving him one piece of advice, fire every single mid-level bureaucrat, every civil servant in the administrative state, and replace them with our people." We've known for some time that this is a key part of the Project 2025 playbook.
Throughout the election cycle, you likely heard the Harris campaign and Democrats sound the alarm about so-called Project 2025. It's a far-right presidential transition plan drawn up by a conservative think tank called the Heritage Foundation. Philip Bump joins us now. He's a national columnist for the Washington Post who has written extensively about Project 2025. Philip, thanks for being here. First, can you give us a reminder of some of the policy positions and also why you wrote in July about the, quote, impossibility of separating Trump from Project 2025?
I would say there are probably two components to Project 2025 that are important to keep in mind. The first is that it proposes an overhaul of what the federal government looks like and how it functions. That includes something that Donald Trump had tried to do when he was last in office, which was recategorize a lot of federal employees so it'd be easier to fire them.
Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead. We see the consequences all across America, and we've seen it before, more than a century ago. But the American people stood up to the robber barons back then and busted the trusts. They didn't punish the wealthy, just made the wealthy play by the rules everybody else had to.
Welcome to the Ken Harbaugh Show. One of the things I appreciate about this audience is your willingness to go deep on issues that may seem esoteric or that have been largely overlooked by legacy media. We're going to do one of those deep dives today, and it's important. This incredibly influential Silicon Valley thinker, Curtis Yarvin, has flown under the radar for a long time, but his musings may well determine how parts of our government are about to be run. Yarvin's philosophical ramblings, as amateurish as they may be, have had a profound effect on the thinking of some of the most powerful people in America, starting with the billionaires who now dominate our information environment. These are the oligarchs President Biden warned us about in his farewell address. That danger is now metastasizing. Today, the people who subscribe, even in part, to Curtis Yarvin's deeply anti-democratic worldview include some of the most powerful politicians in the country, including Vice President J.D. Vance. But let's start with some background on Curtis Yarvin. For years, he's been a fixture of the Silicon Valley cognoscenti, but his unique blend of political philosophy and anti-democratic rhetoric is starting to capture the attention of a much wider audience. According to recent reporting in The Guardian, quote, Yarvin, who considers liberal democracy as a decadent enemy to be dismantled, is intellectually influential on Vice President-elect J.D. Vance and close to several proposed Trump appointees. The aftermath of Trump's election victory has seen actions and rhetoric from Trump and his lieutenants that closely resemble Yarvin's public proposals for taking autocratic power in America, end quote. So who is Curtis Yarvin? Also known by his online pseudonym Mencius Moldbug, Yarvin is a software engineer, entrepreneur, and political thinker. He first gained attention through his blog and writings, where he critiqued modern politics, especially democracy. His background in tech, combined with a self-proclaimed technocratic worldview, led him to propose radical ideas about how society should be governed. At the heart of Yarvin's philosophy is a rejection of democracy. He believes it's inefficient and corrupt, holding society back rather than driving it forward. His solution, a quote, neo-monarchy, a system where a single powerful ruler or philosopher king makes decisions for the good of the state. In Yarvin's view, democracy is too chaotic and too prone to gridlock, with elites governing more for their own interests than for the public. By centralizing power, Yarvin believes society could achieve the stability and continuity it lacks today. His critique doesn't stop at democracy. He also attacks what he calls the, quote, cathedral, a metaphor for the interlinked network of the media, universities, and government, which he argues pushes a progressive agenda. To Yarvin, these institutions suppress alternative viewpoints and reinforce a liberal, left-leaning narrative. In Silicon Valley, Yarvin has found a receptive audience among tech entrepreneurs who share his disdain for bureaucracy and inefficiency. His critiques of democracy and calls for a more centralized, authoritative system align closely with the values of many Silicon Valley leaders, who often see themselves as disruptors of traditional power structures. In October, The Verge reported, perhaps no one online has shaped Vance's thinking more than the neo-reactionary blogger Curtis Yarvin, a former programmer with ties to Vance's friend and benefactor Peter Thiel. Yarvin's influence also ties into a broader trend of techno-libertarianism, which emphasizes the role of technology and entrepreneurship in solving society's problems. This ideology suggests that tech companies, rather than the government, should take the lead in creating solutions. Yarvin's vision of a centralized, efficient state is a more extreme version of this thinking, one that imagines a world where tech leaders might steer society towards greater stability and control. Consider the newly conceived Department of Government Efficiency, a new government agency with, as far as we know, zero oversight that will be led by Trump's largest financial backer and the wealthiest man on the planet.
This is an important day. It's the beginning of a journey. You've heard what DOGE is all about, the Department of Government.
And then during his first term, he already the country political business and technology leaders have realigned themselves to accommodate Trump. Democrats who once formed a resistance are now divided over whether to work with Trump or defy him. Billionaires have lined up to meet with Trump as they acknowledged his unrivaled power in Washington and ability to weight the levers of government to help or hurt their interests. Trump has pledged to bring quick change to the country by curtailing immigration, enacting tariffs on imports, and rolling back Democrats' climate and social initiatives. Long spectacle of America. Alliance is his America First. Foreign policy is being watched warily at home.